Hey boys and girls! So today we're going to be talking about adjectives, and adjectives are words that describe. There are also something called adverbs, and adverbs describe verbs specifically, whereas adjectives describe nouns. In grade 2, the main thing we need to know is that there are words that describe, and we want to be able to use those in our writing. So today we're going to take a look at some examples of adjectives and one or two adverbs as well, and see how those describe things in the stories we read, and then how you might be able to use those in your writing this week.
Let's take a look at this page here and take a look which adjectives we can find. I'll be brave and bold, Annie said, pulling on her oven mitts. Grandma's cheeks grew round as ripe apples. And the whole world will hear my exciting stories. Annie slipped the camera around her neck. Grandpop's eyes sparkled like stars. So you could pause the video here if you want and figure out which words you think were adjectives, and then I'll tell you in a moment. The adjectives on this page are brave and bold, so those are describing Annie as a person. And then round is to describe Grandma's cheeks, and ripe is describing the pretend apples that her cheeks are like. And then we've got the word exciting, so that's describing Annie's stories. Exciting is an adjective. On the next page, it goes like this. Then Annie stood up on her chair, put the mixing bowl firmly onto her head, and shouted, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! And astronaut Annie jumped high off her chair, explored far-off places, and soared through the air. A famous space traveler, she was fearless and bold, and the world loved to hear all the stories she told. So think about which words there are adjectives. The describing words on this page start with firmly, and firmly is actually what we call an adverb. It's not describing a noun, it's describing a verb. So it's describing how Annie put the bowl on her head. She put it on firmly. And then we've got high, which is describing how she jumped off her chair. Far off, which describes where these places are. And then fearless and bold, again, are describing Annie as an astronaut. It's not just fiction books that use adjectives. Nonfiction also have describing words like adjectives and adverbs. Let's look at this page on Mars. The red planet's rosy color looks like rust. In a way, it is. The dusty soil on Mars contains iron. Iron is a metal, and the main ingredient is in rust. This makes Mars look like a ball of metal left out in the rain. This photograph, taken by the space vehicle Spirit, shows rocks in an area of Mars called Gusev Crater. Do you see any describing words on these two pages? The adjectives I see on this page are rosy, which describe the color of the planet, dusty, that describes the soil, main, that's describing the type of ingredient that iron is, and then rusty, describing that can. Those are all adjectives. And we have another page here about Mars. To meet the challenges, groups of scientists have created Mars mission training grounds. They set up fake space stations so crews can practice surviving on the red planet. 2 scientists perform a training mission in Hanksville, Utah, USA. Bases are often located in dry, empty areas that look like Mars, like the top of a Hawaiian volcano or a field in the Canadian Arctic. Scientists hope to learn how to make a real-life Mars mission successful. Take a look at those pages and see if you can find any adjectives there. So we've got fake is an adjective. That's describing the space station, so it's not a real space station. And then dry, empty, those are describing the places where they're using these bases. And then successful, that's also an adjective that's describing the mission that they want to have. They want to have a mission that is successful, which is an adjective. Now we've got a nonfiction story about Apollo 8. So it goes gracefully, powerfully, the rocket climbed. Higher, faster, out of sight, pushing Apollo 8 into Earth orbit. So take a look. This page has some really good descriptive words that help us to imagine what that launch was like. Words like gracefully, powerfully, higher, faster are all describing what the rocket is like as it takes off into space. Those are all adjectives. On the next page, on their 3rd day out, the crew put on a show. They pointed a TV camera toward Earth. The picture, all crackly, black and white, went out around the world. You are looking at yourselves from 180,000 miles out. Everyone who watched was amazed by this mysterious sight. Again, this page has some really good adjectives that help us to imagine. Take a look and see if you can find them. The ones that I could find on this page were crackly, black, white. Those are all describing the picture that was coming back to people's TV screens. And then mysterious is what it looks like, that image that they see.
So almost any sentence you write can have at least one adjective. There can even be a sentence with many adjectives. Of course, we don't want to overwhelm our writing with adjectives, but it's really helpful for a writer to have adjectives in their writing so that the audience can really imagine what the writer is writing about. So as you're writing your writing assignment this week, be thoughtful about where you can add in some describing words to help the audience really imagine what you're writing about. Happy writing, guys! Bye!